Good evening, everyone. Hope I am audible. Yes or no? So, I have been doing a few sessions on YouTube, which are majorly focused at two things. One is vocabulary from different genre. We did mythology, science and technology. I think we also did history, maybe. I don't remember exactly. Today's business. So, in an RC passage, there can be certain words which a lot of people are not aware of, depending on their background, their graduation stream, etc. For example, engineers might not be aware of business and economics terms. Might be, okay, might not be. Similarly, for science terms, maybe commerce graduates don't know. So people know things once they start reading a lot of things. Diverse reading is something which is very much important. So something is not uh, connected to your background. If you start reading those things, automatically your vocab will improve. So reading is the first thing which you need to do. These sessions are just an add-on bonus sessions in which probably, because I keep on doing it for the complete year, maybe I'll improve your vocabulary by at least 500 new words. That is my agenda. But at the very same time, only this is not enough, because in language there are infinite words and we can't know all of them. But still, so whatever we can do, a little bit of it, we'll be doing it. All right, Milind, hey, Milind, okay, great. So, the first word is bootstrapping. Bootstrapping is a way of starting a business. Like, you must be hearing about investments, investors, angel investors, venture capitalists, all that stuff. Now, bootstrapping is something when you start a business with minimal financial resources and without external investment. It's like you put your own money in the business and start something. All right. Now, this is something which is traditional in a way, from, I think, somehow that humans are doing business in some or other way from last 2,500 to 3,000 years. And it was majorly bootstrapping only. Now we have a term for it, but earlier business was all about, okay, I go and buy something and I sell it to you. The earliest form of business was barter system. Do you know about that? Barter. That's a kind of a trade-off in which, let's say, I'm a farmer who grows wheat, and Milind is another farmer who grows, let's say, pulses. Aditi is someone who domesticates cows for milk. Okay, so, and now Kumkum is also there. So Kumkum is someone who grows fruits. Now, thing is, all of us need everything. We need wheat, we need pulses, we need fruit, we need milk. So what we will do? Whatever we are growing, we'll just kind of, give some part of it. So let's say I'm growing 4 parts and we 4 are there. So I'll keep 1 part with me and 1 part each to all of you, right? And similarly, you will be doing the same thing. Is that clear? That was the earliest form of business. Clear? Yes or no? You get that? Slowly and steadily, when humans were not just looking for food, they looked for shelter, clothing, social security, society was made, culture was built. So a lot of other things as well. Services came into existence, and that is the starting form of currency. So all those things were there. Now business is like, now people were majorly, let's say, so there was a kingdom, society was formed, a lot of people working for the king, and these people required food also. So there were some people who, the businessmen, they were the ones who took some agricultural produce from the farmers and sold it in the open markets. So that is nothing but bootstrapping only. But nowadays, because we humans in 21st century want to have a technical term attached to everything that we do, in the modern day of investments, bootstrapping something when you put your own money and resources into something and create a business out of it. Is that clear? For example, iQUANTA is a bootstrapped company. And very few companies are bootstrapped in this tech industry. So we are bootstrapped, and we have been able to acquire at least 2 or 3 companies just by being bootstrapped, thanks to you guys. Now, second is leverage. So leverage is a term which can be used in normal English as well. So leverage is like, using something to your benefit. In terms of business, it means using borrowed funds to increase potential returns on an investment. Basically, we want to increase ROI by using the borrowed funds. That is leveraging your funds, leveraging your income. So leveraging is basically, increasing something, making it useful for your benefit. That is what leveraging means in English, but in the terms business sense, it means using borrowed funds to increase the returns on investments. Is that clear? I want some comments over there. Try to be interactive. Next word is pivot. Now, pivot. It's like pivot has got multiple meanings in English. Pivot is basically a direction, a pointer, a mechanical device which can kind of give you direction. Pivot can also be a thought process which can give you some direction. In business, it's a strategic shift in strategy in business to adapt to market demands. So it's like yeah, Kumkum, great. It's like that when you say, okay, we must pivot the strategy, pivot the resources in business sense. What do I mean? For example, I'm manufacturing a phone, a mobile phone, all right, and the USP of my mobile phone is that it is sturdy, strong. You throw it anywhere, it doesn't break, just like Nokia. In fact, Nokia. Anyone will tell me in the comments which country does Nokia belong to? Like nowadays, Nokia is not manufacturing phones, but still is manufacturing certain things. What are they manufacturing? Can you tell me? So Nokia was so famous a decade back. There was a kind of a local sport going on in that country. Tell me the name of that country. So it was like, okay, who will throw the mobile phones to the farthest, distance, because it was so sturdy, so strong. But what Nokia missed out on was the smartness of phones, the smartphones, the touch panels, all that stuff they missed on that. So they did not have a pivoting strategy. They could not do that. That's the reason that they lost all the market share in the phone segment, mobile phone segment. All right. Kumkum says Japan. There is no Japan. No. So if you're making calculated guess, you might say Japan. I think that is what you guys are doing. Jyoti is also doing the same. That's a calculated guess, educated guess, right? Milind, yes. The people who know will be the people who can tell the correct answer. It's Finland. So nobody will think of Finland if you do not know about it, right? Nokia 1100, so yes. Yes, it's Finland, exactly. Now, next is monopoly. So monopoly is, how many of you are from commerce background? Kanak, no, it's not Korea. It's Finland. Monopoly. So this is something which you must have heard a lot of times. That the there is a monopoly of Colgate in toothpaste segment. It was at one point of time. Now it is not there. So a market condition where a single company dominates and controls supply. Any example of monopoly? Who will tell me? Something comes to your mind? Anything that comes to your mind? Yeah, monopoly can also be used in polity, like just now, Rashid said, single ruler, that's also monopoly. The person has the monopoly over everyone. Now, in business sense, it's a market condition, so one comes dominating everything. Any example? Indian Railway, IRCTC, Apple doesn't have monopoly, Rashid, no. Apple monopoly kahan pe hai? In fact, these days, it's very difficult to have a monopolistic business. The reason is, what's the reason? Can you tell me that why we don't have monopolistic markets anymore? Like we have it, but it's really rare. Why? Why does that happen? Great, Milind. Reliance Textile has the monopoly? Not really. See, the thing is, because these days, as the internet has developed, technology has developed, and the relative distances have shortened. You know what? Like I don't say that if 5 kilometers, still 5 kilometers, 5 kilometers. But the speed at which we can deliver the goods and products over there has increased, and time of delivery (ETA) have been drastically reduced. And that's the reason nobody can have a monopoly. Moreover, it's a global market. So it's not like I want to buy something, a shirt, I would go to some market and buy it. I can just order it online from anywhere in the world. So that is the reason the monopoly Rarely exists. So monopoly can exist inside a closed economy. You know that? The closed economies are there, just like China, which is almost a closed economy. So for an open economy, which majorly is everyone these days, having a monopoly is very difficult. Yes, Sujal. Being vigorous, exactly. You're right. WhatsApp has monopoly in instant messaging application market. That's right. People came with different kind of other messaging services, like Facebook Messenger is also there, which doesn't have monopoly. Or there was a Line Messenger, which was I think from Japan or Korea. I don't remember clearly. There have been multiple messaging services. That's a good example. Being vigorous, I don't know what your name is, but that's a good example. WhatsApp has the monopoly. Well, synergy. Synergy is like whenever we use the term synergy, it's always more than one person or companies or ideas. The combined value and performance of two merged business exceeding their individual contribution. So let's say, I'll give you an example. In a Hindi proverb is there, which says एक और एक 11. सुना है ये? WeChat in China. China is a closed economy. That's the reason. एक और एक 11, almost वैसा ही कुछ. So synergy. So basically, when two businesses they join hands, they merge together. So whatever they were doing, the kind of returns they were making individually, if they are combined, they make more returns. So that is the synergy. So two things or two ideas working together for the benefit of both. That is a synergy, right? Got it? Well, next, scalability. So you must have heard these days a lot of times if you are working professionals or even students on LinkedIn, you might be looking. There are certain words which are very common these days that this business is scalable. Shark Tank is there if you have watched it. Okay, is it scalable? Like people say, oh, the idea is great. Wow, I love the idea, but I don't think it is scalable. Right. This is a very common term that we are using these days. The ability of a business to expand operations without proportional increases in cost. That is scalability. So you will say, okay, I can expand my business. I'll put in more money, I'll scale that. But that's not scalability. It's like, you do not increase the expenses, but still, if your products can actually be delivered to a larger area, to a bigger market size, that's a scalable business. The most scalable business is online education. One of the most scalable businesses, isn't it? Or the instant delivery systems. So, like we are sitting, I'm in Gurgaon, you guys are anywhere in India, maybe some parts of world as well. So that's scalability. So without involving further costs, I can reach to so many people. Any kind of tech business or even YouTube, it's hugely scalable, right? Getting it? Next, freemium. So there is a thing called premium, YouTube premium, all that stuff. Business model that offers basic services for free while charging from premium features. For example, so YouTube premium is something where you pay, but don't pay still you can watch YouTube videos. You just have to watch some ads as well. There's ChatGPT, what people majorly are using is a freemium version of it. Some people use premium as well. Very common example is dating websites or matrimonials, isn't it? So you guys can go on Tinder, Bumble, and swipe right, left, whatever. But there is a limit to it. So you have to pay for more interaction. So almost all the apps these days they have freemium model. And why freemium is there? Spotify is there, yeah, Apple Music is there. Freemium is always given so that the customers, the clients, they kind of get a taste of the app and what is or you can just explore the app. So it's a kind of a marketing strategy as well. So let's say I have 100 features out of which 5 are free, rest 95 are paid. So if you get addicted or maybe you like those 5 features, probably you will go for the next 95 as well. Clear? Stakeholder. This is a very common term. I think all of you must be knowing it. Any individual or group affected by a company's decisions. For example, employees, investors, customers. So stakeholder is not the person, just the person who is invested money. It can be employees as well. So stakes are not just monetary. Okay, that is something we should understand. Stakes are not just monetary. People think that having a stake is like, having some money um, invested. Not really. It can be any individual. It can be employees as well, investors as well, customers also. So all of them are stakeholders. Okay. Um, I think yesterday I came up with a video. You must have watched that 240 days plan. So I discussed 4 days plan, and for the rest 240 days plan, Indrajit sir has made a PDF. So you can just go to the description of this YouTube video. There is a WhatsApp link. Join it, and you get the free PDF for the entire 240 days study plan. All right. Now coming back to the next word, that is disruptive innovation. Disruptive. What is the meaning of this term disrupt? I think I discussed this term somewhere. Disrupt. A new technology or business model that significantly alters an industry. So disrupting is like, changing the way things have been happening historically. That is disruptive. Innovation. Innovation in solitude, like individually, this word means you innovate something, you create something new. So when you create something new, that is changing the way market perceives things, changing the way market is strategized, that is a disruptive innovation. In fact, YouTube was a disruptive innovation. You know that? YouTube has made, you know what, I don't know what you guys watch on YouTube apart from these classes. People are watching shorts and a lot of videos which might entertain them, or maybe sometimes they also kind of make them addicted. Uh, Today itself, before this class, and I do it almost every day, there are certain channels, certain content creators. These are the guys who go to the extreme places, They go to Iceland, frozen lake, they can go to inside a cave. They go to different places, different cultures. They stay there for a day, for a week, or for a month. And then they make a video on that and discuss everything, starting from the geography of that place, culture, economy, business, technology, and everything about that place. That is a kind of so similar things were happening in National Geographic Channel or Discovery or sometimes in History Channel, but and they were paid a lot of money. There were a lot of investment which was involved in these channels. But nowadays, I've seen independent creators, and they create videos which are kind of similar level to what Nat Geo or Discovery is making. Have you seen that, anyone? Who has seen that? Those kind of videos. Have you watched that? The travelers go there. I'm not talking about people who go to, kind of, they go to Rishikesh and make a video and chanting. No. The places which you do not know about. And even if you know about it, don't know the in and out of it. Yesterday I was watching a video on Dras village, that is in Ladakh. So it is the second coldest place in the world, second coldest inhabited place in the world. And in India, it is the coldest inhabited place. It's in Ladakh. So what that guy showed was kind of something which I might not have seen in my life. So YouTube, why it's a disruptive innovation? Because it changed the entire way things were being done. So what was a kind of a monopoly of Discovery and Nat Geo, now independent creators can also do that, and sometimes in a better way, with better and these people are from different countries. So let's say we Indians want to watch in Hindi, it's purely Hindi. So there are some people who are Spanish or wherever. So it has become a kind of very much similar to what the giants were doing. Tell me in the comments, have you watched something like that? Next, brand equity. The value and strength of a brand based on consumer perception and loyalty. Okay, so brand, the value of brand. The moment you watch Kumkum, that's great. The moment I show you, something like this, what comes to your mind? What comes to your mind? Anything? Pardon my drawing here, but I think it looks great. What comes to your mind? iPhone. But you know what? This is the kind of the branding that iPhone has done or Apple has done. You know what? In reality, this is not iPhone. This is basically just an Apple, nothing else. Right? It's just an Apple. The real Apple logo is this. So it's like the leaf is not there. The leaf is not there, isn't it? Moreover, the apple that was made was also somebody had bitten it. Yes or no? It was not like this. Somebody bit it. That is how the logo was. Now, what I want to tell you over here is the moment you see an apple, iPhone comes to your mind. Think about the kind of branding that these guys have done. Getting it? This is just an example. So brand equity is not just this thing, the logo or the narratives. So it comes from different things. Value, strength, it all depends on the logo and the narrative behind it. The narrative. Right? Narrative, you understand? So, by the way, tell me in the comments if you watch ads, if you're someone who watches ads, because I love ads. I love films, all sorts of films. Feature films, documentaries, mockumentaries, ad films. What are the ads which come to your mind which you felt are the best ads from your childhood you must have seen? There's some ads which were created way before we guys were born, but still, those ads are very famous. They sometimes are shared on LinkedIn, sometimes on YouTube. Any ad or any company that is who creates the best ads, my top company is Fevicol. The problem is, not the problem, but the thing is, the fact is, Fevicol is not even a company. The company is Pidilite. Alright? And what do they create? They create adhesive gums. Fevicol is just the name of that adhesive. But all of us know Fevicol, we don't know anything about Pidilite or adhesive, right? So, Fevicol, but in terms of advertisements that I have watched in my life, I think Fevicol has got the best advertisements, the best ones. That is my top picks. What about you? Second, I somehow feel that Cadbury creates great advertisements. Really great. Cadbury is there. And then Coca-Cola is also, honorable mention. But these two have created ads which I think are better than a lot of movies that we watch here every day. Okay, Sahiti, my educational qualifications. Why do you want to know that? First, convince me with a great reason. So Fevicol, there was an ad, and yeah, Coca-Cola is an honorable mention, but I think Fevicol second, what I rank is Gillette, a few ads of it, then comes Cadbury. So Fevicol, there was an ad which said, there was a song in Khadi Boli, something like this. शर्मा की बेटी ब्याह कराई साथ में 2-seater sofa ले आई, something like that. There's a whole song to it, and it showed the pictures, the videos were, they started from the British ruled India to the modern India. It also discussed about the Bengal famine and some what was it? Some flood also. So all those things the videos were shown, and in all that, it was just one thing. And also they talked about the culture, how culture changed. So first, people married in their own religion, then in their own caste, then love marriage started happening, and people married from different cultures of India. So all those things were happening in the story. But what was common to it, the thread attached to all of them. The thread was, whatever people are, they always need a furniture, and the best furniture can be made only by Fevicol. That was there. Mishrainga sofa, exactly. Yeah, that was one of the best ads. And Gillette, there are two ads of Gillette. Anybody here was a defense kid? Your mom, dad, or anyone who was in defense or who is in defense? There is the tagline of Gillette is the best a man can be. Think about it. There are hardly any ads which are masculine in nature. Majority of ads are gender neutral. In fact, majority of advertisements are feminine. You know, they have this female energy attached to it, and they are somehow, you know, I would say, catering to the cause of females. Majority of them, because females bring in a lot of emotions. They bring in a lot of, you know, family kind of thing. Mishrain ka sofa, it's Mishrain, not Mishra ka sofa. So do you notice about these things? With an open mindset, and you come to know that there are very few ads which are masculine in nature. Gillette, the best a man can be. That is their tagline. And there was a an ad film in which the real film was there. One of the soldiers who was fighting in a war, and the entire story is said. It's like 5 minutes ad. People these days cannot even watch 30 seconds reel, but a 5 minutes ad, you'll watch it and start crying in the end. It's really, you know, I would say the great ad. And then Gillette also discussed about the barber girls of India. So there were two girls, and then this young guy, young kid, who says, "Papa, ये लड़कियां होके उस तरफ चलाएंगी." So the dad says, "बेटा उस तरह पकड़ने, उस तरह को क्या पता कि उन्हें पकड़ने वाला लड़का है कि लड़की." You remember that? So these are the kind of ads which hit you really hard. So all these brands I'm talking about, they have great equity, great brand equity, great brand visibility. So consumer perception starts from the kind of narrative that they make, and that is how loyalty also, you know, is there. Like my dad is highly loyal to Pierce soap for some reasons. All right, is that clear? So I want you guys to tell me your top picks in the ads. And Cadbury's का तो है ही है. सोच रहा हूँ कुछ हाँ, मम्मी कहती है मीठा खाने, कुछ अच्छा करने से पहले मीठा खा लेना चाहिए, ये लीजिए चॉकलेट. एक लड़का लड़की को बोलता है, लड़की बोलती है तुम अच्छा क्या करने वाले हो, सोच रहा हूँ तुम्हें घर छोड़ दूँ. Remember that? It's a cheesy ad but very innocent in nature. So yeah. Elasticity. Now elasticity is a scientific term as well. In physics we use elasticity, that is stress upon strain. I hope I'm not wrong. That is Young's modulus, I think. Stress upon strain. Elasticity is like, you know, the ability of a material to come back to its shape when it is compressed or stressed. Right? That is elasticity. For example, rubber, everything is elastic. Even solids are elastic. Elastic, people say, okay, this is elastic. They think that only rubber bands are elastic. Our skin is elastic. We talk about skin elasticity, you know, the ability of bouncing back to the original. That is elasticity in physics. But in market, in business, it's a measure of how demand or supply responds to changes in price. It's kind of sometimes price elasticity. So elasticity in a way is the same thing. How you come back to the original form. Here it will be demand supply. How does it respond to changes in price? That is elasticity. All right, clear? Now, next, opportunity cost. This is very important actually, which you guys are also going through. All of us somehow go through it. So there are people who prepare for CAT and don't get the best IMs, which other college of their choice. So they are like, what should I do? Should I repeat? Should I join whatever college I get? Should I, join some job, gain some experience, and then write CAT again after 2 years? So here comes the real opportunity cost. Like if you prepare for CAT again, what are you going to lose? Or what are you going to gain? So all these costs are there. Or maybe some people also say that if you prepare for and UPSC aspirants, anybody who's preparing for UPSC, they feel it a lot. The opportunity cost. They keep on preparing for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. In fact, there is a dialogue in movie Ranjana. It says, "तुम्हारा प्यार है कि UPSC की परीक्षा 10 साल से साला clear ही नहीं हो रही." Okay. So the opportunity cost is such high that people keep on preparing for it. People prepare for that exam for a decade, and in that one decade they miss out on so many things. They miss out on fun, on jobs, on the learnings that they could have obtained while working somewhere, while traveling somewhere, or falling in love, getting heartbroken, all that stuff they miss out. And they are like 32, 33, 35 years of age by that time. And they're still the people who have not grown much beyond their graduation. They just have more general knowledge, but they cannot put it to use if they don't crack that exam. Isn't it? So, opportunity cost. Anybody preparing for UPSC? So I'm not against UPSC aspirants, not really, but I'm just telling you that then for an example, the opportunity cost, they are the ones who might understand it a lot. So the cost of the best next alternative foregone when making a decision. Okay? Next is inflation. All of us know that. Increase in prices. General increase in prices of goods and services over time, reducing purchasing power. Now, inflation, I will not start explaining different types of inflation. We are not in economics class. The creeping inflation, all that stuff is there. Running inflation. I think you know that. But that is something which, even if you don't know, that doesn't really matter. You should just know that inflation is general increase in prices. It says general. There can be multiple types as well. Clear? Somehow people not commenting a bit. Deflation, just reverse of inflation. Decrease in general price level of goods, and so there is deflation. Stagflation, this is something really a new term. Stagflation, situation where inflation and unemployment rise simultaneously, causing economic stagnation. Now, महंगाई भी बढ़ रही है और बेरोजगारी भी बढ़ रही है, इससे बुरा क्या ही हो सकता है? ओके जतन, कुछ बोलते भी रहो, तो मुझे देख नहीं रहा प्रॉब्लम ये है. तो स्टैगफ्लेशन, अब महंगाई भी बढ़ गई है, बेरोजगारी भी बढ़ रही है, इससे बुरा कुछ हो सकता है किसी देश में? बेरोजगारी बढ़ेगी तो वो लोग कुछ खरीद नहीं पाएंगे, वैसे चीज़ें महंगी होती जा रही है. तो दिस सिचुएशन कैन ब्रिंग इन लॉट ऑफ पॉवर्टी एंड अ ह्यूज गैप बिटवीन रिच एंड पुअर. You get that? So inflation will be supported by the rich, right? But the divide between rich and poor would expand because of unemployment. This is stagflation. So this is how economic stagnation is there. Basically, rich are the ones who can increase the inflation. But at the same time, if the money doesn't move, the currency doesn't move inside the economy, there'll be no economic growth. I hope you understand that. That is what the exact meaning of general domestic product is. So in a way, if I explain it, might sound really humorous, and Sahiti will again ask me, what's your qualification? Right? Sahiti, yeah. So it's like if you put a currency note, let's say 100 rupees currency note um, in your blanket, and you do not and it's in the blanket for a complete year, then the GDP of the country would reduce by 100 rupees. Obviously, there are a lot of technical variables attached to it, but this is just a basic example. The money which doesn't flow inside it, the economic territory, is useless. Do you get that? Understood? All of you? So that is how stagnation can creep in, because money would not actually flow. So how much flow can only rich do? If there is no business, there are no business transactions. So that at a time things will become stagnant. Clear? Do you understand that? Clear, all of you? Well, now GDP, gross domestic product, the total value of goods and services produced within a country's borders. This is important. Within a country's borders, when they say country, they are basically referring to an economic territory. Okay, and a country is an economic territory. Clear? Also depends on what kind of country or country is there, but we won't go into that, like capitalism, socialism, and all that stuff. We'll go into that in some other class where we'll be discussing about the polity. Okay, so I'll be having class on polity as well. We'll be discussing these terms. Cool. Fiscal policy. So fiscal policy, every year we see that government policies regarding taxation and public spending to influence the economy. Fiscal policy, union budget is a part of it. Monetary policy, central bank policies that control money supply and interest rates to manage economic stability. Now, monetary policy is by central bank, okay? Fiscal policy is by government. There's something you need to understand. Fiscal policy by government, monetary policy by central bank, which in our case is Reserve Bank of India. Balance of trade, the difference between a country's exports and imports in a given period. So we can have a positive balance of trade, we have a negative balance of trade, right? Heard about it? Commerce graduates, यही तो करते हो आप पूरे दिन, है ना? So like GNP is GDP plus this balance of trade, isn't it? There will be more variables, but for a layman, I think this is enough to understand. So what's going to happen? In what case GNP will be greater than GDP? Tell me, it's a pure mathematical equation. In which case, would GNP be more than GDP? When the balance of trade will be positive. Yes or no? And what is balance of trades? It is exports minus imports. Clear? So if we have more exports and less imports, we'll have a greater GNP than GDP. But if we have more imports and less exports, our GNP will be lesser than the GDP. Clear? In simple layman terms, I'm not taking an economics class. ज़रूरत पड़ेगी कभी तो वो मैं करा दूंगा, maybe in future for the personal interview stage. But right now, to understand it simply, this is what we can understand. Clear? All right. Now, let's go to the next one. Liquidity. The case with which an asset can be converted into cash without affecting its price. Liquidity. Liquid cash. So how much liquidity do you have? It's basically the cash, the currency in hand. Hedging. Risk management strategy used to offset potential losses in investments. Have you heard about hedge funds? Hedge funds. Hedge funds, सुना किसी ने? Risk management strategy used to offset potential losses in investments. So somehow, you try to minimize risk so that there are less or reduced potential. Potential, that is something which can happen, has not happened yet. So if I feel there is some potential loss that can happen, so I will try to manage the risk. That is the act of hedging. But hedge fund is something which I'll make you understand in some other class. Good evening, Hariom. Arbitrage. Practice of profiting from price differences of the same asset in different markets. Okay. The simple example is of late Dhirubhai Ambani ji. So there was, what do you call it? Some synthetic silk was there. I think terrycot, जिसको हिंदी में केला सिल्क बोलते थे, terrycot. Not silk, it's a cotton with some kind of polymers mixed into it. So it's very soft. It's cotton but very soft, terrycot. उसको केला silk हिंदी में बोलते थे. So he was someone, who produced it at some places. Somebody produced it. He bought it from there in some village, went to Mumbai and sold it. So same asset in different markets, due to price differences, you can actually, profit out of that. This is very common. In fact, it's very common that people go to farmers, get the best produce out of them, and then just label it as organic and sell it to you higher prices. So it's also marketing and advertising. Getting it? Derivatives, financial instruments whose value is derived from an underlying asset. For example, options, futures, this is all about stocks. Derivatives is also a mathematical term, that is differentiation, d by dx, but in business, it's financial instruments, and the value derived by an underlying asset. Well, bear market. So bear and bulls, you must have heard that. When there is prolonged price decline, that is a bear market. Or we also say bearish market. The market has been bearish, typically 20% or more. While when you say market is bullish, when they're rising or prolonged rising is there, it's a bullish market. Okay, bullish market, rising, bearish market, declining. Clear? Blue chip stocks. Stocks of large, well-established and financially stable companies. So Nifty 50, you must have heard about that. Nifty 50, they majorly invest in blue chip stocks, right? So these stocks are some, they are stable stocks. So there is very less probability or less risk attached to them that are blue chip stocks. We also call them blue chip companies. Yield. Yield is basically profit. Earnings generated from an investment, usually expressed as a percentage, profit percentage. Capital gain, the profit from selling an asset to a higher price, at a higher price than its purchase price. That is capital gain. A very simple thing. It's like selling price minus cost price. That is capital gain. Market capitalization, total market value of a company's outstanding shares. So when the shares of companies are, it can be with the public, it can be, the shares can be distributed. So based on that, based on the shares, when we try to evaluate the company market, that is called market capitalization of some company. Yes, Ankita. Very late. Exchange ETF, exchange traded fund, type of investment fund that tracks an index and is traded on stock exchanges like a stock. It's not actually a stock, it's just an investment fund that, that is very much similar to how we sell it, buy it. It is almost similar to a stock. And that's all for the business-based vocabulary. And tell me if you are enjoying these classes and are they relevant to, I know they are relevant to you, but I would like you to, kind of come in greater numbers and try to interact as much as possible. By the way, it's really great to see that people who are here are still here and they listen to everything carefully. So you can also tell me after the session is over if something comes to your mind that you want me to add something more. So I'll keep on doing that. So I'll be coming almost every day, not every day, but at least 3 days in a week. All right. So, and this Sunday we'll also be having a reading club session, most probably. All right then. Thank you all of you. Today there's a class at 7. I hope you know that. Logical reasoning, data interpretation, Venn diagrams part 2. So meet you over there. Bye. Yes, Jatin.